people, my name is Allison. Welcome to my video essay for my final exam. Let's start. Food is a very interesting topic that hasn't been discussed that often in cinema in my own opinion. However, it is still widely used in films for varieties of reasons. And I'm not talking about food films, where people will categorize it as a genre, like the film Chef or Ratatouille, where food plays a main role and narrative focus. I'm talking about all films, no matter what genre it is. It's like how N.L. Bauer said it in her book, that filmmakers in all film genres often turn to food to communicate important aspects of characters' emotions, and the ethnic, religious, sexual, and philosophical aspects of the narratives, along with their personal and cultural identities. So, the use of food is a lot more common in films than you think. You just have to look into it and get a taste of its power. See what I did there? No one is there. In the book Feasting Our Eyes, it is stated that the representation of food objects and practices from specific times and places provide an element of realism. And again from Bauer, food is an essential element in films, one that being so very ordinary, the audience experiences rather than understands. Food in film has a very intricate and interesting relationship with reality. It is a source that creates a realness, something the audience can identify in films. It can reflect and reveal the actual social context in life at the time. The first food films made by the Lumiere brothers shows a baby eating meal with a parent. It not only shows us that the early filmmakers were really obsessed with documenting reality, it also could be a reassurance to the people at the time that the moving picture, this new technology, is nothing to be worried about. Again, it's like how Bauer said it. The Lumieres perhaps wanted to show something ordinary and reassurance to balance the newness of that technology with a reassurance familiarity of what they depicted. Food is such an ordinary and familiar object that we are so used to in life, so whenever it is shown on screen, we get this sense of reality, or even a sense of comforting. In the 1948 Italian film Bicycle Thieves, we see Antonio and Bruno, the father and son duo, eating at a restaurant after a day's search of their stolen bike. In the post-war time in Italy, people were really struggling with food. They sometimes can't even afford food to eat at home, not to mention going to a restaurant. So they spent most of their money and ordered some food. It was 1 in a million chance for them to eat like that. But then you see an upper-class family behind them eating a lot more and better food than them. Antonio even tells Bruno that you need at least $1 million a month to eat like that. Food here shows a clear divide in social class and gives Bruno a clear understanding of the financial situation between his family and the rich one. And food also serves as a bridge to let Antonio apologize and comfort Bruno for their fight earlier, and open a conversation and connect to his son, and teach him the simple concept of life. Without food, you can't live. Personally, I will argue that this movie is really, in some way, all about food, because food is something that motivates them to do everything in the film. In another 1948 film, Oliver Twist, you also see this use of food to show division in social class, but what's more interesting is that they use food to show the power structure in this film. In the workhouse, the orphans were given a fixed portion of some sort of liquidy thing that looks very unappetizing. I don't know if it's because of the black and white or it looks bad. Serving a fixed number of food or a limited option really only happened in military or prisons, places where people were controlled by authority. So food here became a tool to suppress and control the powerless orphans. Thus, food loses its power to comfort and connect with the people. The orphans ate around the table, but with no interaction or conversation. It is really the opposite from Bicycle Thieves. Using food to show the social context or the divide in social class is not just a Western country thing. You can see the same used in the Taiwanese film Husband's Secret in the 1960s. Of course, you can see the clear difference of the financial situation by the place they live, because one is mentioned and one is just a room. But the use of food in the film really enhanced that impression. You can see the male protagonist eating cake. Seem normal, right? No. Cake, especially Western-style cake, is not affordable to the common people at the time in Taiwan. Only rich people can afford to buy cake. I also confirmed that with my grandma. And my grandma also said only rich people can go to bar and have drinks. So showing the male protagonist eating cake and having a drink at the bar is really showing that he is really successful and wealthy. Putting cake in the film also reflects the social context then. Around 1950s, Taiwan was still a developing country. The economy was bad, the food was under shortage. Then in 1951 to 1965, Taiwan received financial aid and a lot of flour, this kind of flour, not this kind, from the United States to help stabilize the situation in Taiwan. The flour from the United States was so important, it actually changed the eating habits in Taiwan. Taiwanese people then started to eat a lot more bread, cookie, cake, or anything that can be made with flour. So, the use of cake in this film really helped us to glimpse into the history of Taiwan. And of course, people use food for different reasons. Let's see how filmmakers use food for different purposes and kind of go against reality. The poster of the 1917 film The Immigrant shows a big plate of delicious food, which is nothing like the reality then. In 1917, the US government enacted the Food and Fuel Control Act that put food under restriction, and they made a bunch of posters to promote less food waste. So when you see this poster around these posters, it's pretty ironic, isn't it? The ironic use of food in the film and on the poster creates a great attraction, almost one that escaped from the reality. Speaking of ironic use of food, in the 1963 Japanese animated series Astroboy, you can also see how they use food to remind us of the irony that even though Atomu is built by the most advanced technology, nuclear power, he still can't function like a real human. He can't digest food, or in fact, really doesn't need food because he is a robot. Atomu is still not a real boy, so it can become Topio or replace Topio, the real son of the professor. Everyone knows that chocolate is a symbol of love. So in 1956, the TV series Father Knows Best, you see Doyle offer Betty a box of chocolate to apologize to her for his attitude earlier and to show his affection to Betty. And when Betty accepts that box of chocolate, it is a metaphor of accepting Doyle's love. If you replace the chocolate with a bag of chips, it will definitely change the scene. Because the sweet taste is what makes the metaphor works. No one wants a salty relationship, right? Am I right? I really hope I'm correct on that one. And in Rebel Without a Cause, milk is a strong metaphor that shows Jim's emotional state and struggles. Milk is often associated with youth, so it emphasizes on Jim's young age and the inner struggle of him being a teen and becoming a man. Milk is also related to innocence, so Jim drinking milk after Bud's death, although he didn't really cause Bud's death, it is still kind of ironic and enhanced the conflicting state Jim was in. Milk is also a symbol of nourishment, so drinking milk is Jim's way to comfort himself or nourish himself after the horrible accident. The silky and smooth taste of the cold milk is also soothing, it's just what Jim needed to be soothed and calmed. If you replace the milk with Mountain Dew or hot cocoa, I think it would just feel odd. Another popular food choice is the apple. In Snow White, the apple was a metaphor of forbidden fruit, sin, and temptation. You can see the sin on the queen, because the queen committed the crime of killing innocent life, although Snow White didn't really die. And you can see the temptation on Snow White, because she was tempted to eat the shiny and attracting apple. The metaphor of the forbidden fruit also implied the danger of eating it. It's just like how the apple was presented in, because red is also a symbol of danger. So apple, more specifically red apple, is perfect in the sequence. If you replace it with banana or kiwi, I don't think Snow White will want to eat that, and the tension is gonna be way lower. If I see the queen give Snow White a kiwi, I will laugh, 100%. Alright, that's what I want to talk about today. After some research, I found out there is so much to talk about the use of food in films. I actually had to delete a lot of the stuff I planned to talk about, and it kind of threw me off, but I hope this somehow still shows a good depiction of how important food is, or could be, in cinema. So that's it for me today. Bye!